And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome in to your LSU Football Fix. I'm Preston Guy, staff writer at TigerBait.com. Join with me, as always, is publisher at LSU Country on SportsIllustrated.com, Zach Nagy. Zach, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Trying to hopefully get this redness to come out of my face now that fall camp's starting to die down. But doing good on this end, But busy season's here, so time to crank out the content and get rolling.
Dude, I'm so ready. Like, my body feels ready for football. There's nothing that meets the feeling of just American tackle football season, man. It's the best. Now, look, admittedly, you go to a lot more practices than I do, but I just want to say, okay, I look like a goofball in my big giant hat, and I'm all lathered up when I go out there, and I got my big sunglasses on. But you know what? Your boy doesn't burn. I stay looking good, and I'm a pale fella. So, hey, look, man, sometimes over prepping does you some good out there, man.
No, I need to start to I need to get a hat. I was talking with a couple of the guys. I need to get a bucket hat, some type of hat, and some more sunscreen, because what I'm doing right now ain't doing the trick. But living to learn. Yeah, far good fall camp. Got two more. We got 2 more days to check out the team on Wednesday and Saturday, and then look, here we go, USC time.
That's absolutely right. Now, look, here's a dating tip for you. Okay, your girlfriend, right? Assign her to get you the hat. Make her date, okay? And that'll tell you if she's wife material or not. I haven't bought a piece of clothing in 10 years. That's how you determine if she's the one, my guy. Yeah, guys. So let's get a quick little rundown tonight, okay? So here's what you can expect tonight. We're going to touch on LSU recruiting, okay? Obviously, it's been really good, and I'm gonna convey a concept. Maybe y'all heard me talking in the chat before, huh? It's time to bury the horse. I'll tell you what I mean by that, okay? Let's see here. Jaden Daniels named the starter today. Very unsurprising. What is probably equally unsurprising, Miller Moss also named that. So we'll touch on those. We're talking about game week. I'm going to run down on how college football has just drastically changed this year. We're going to give you a few things to look at, and just think about. In my opinion, it's changed the most in my lifetime. I can't think of anything other than maybe the invention of the forward pass, where college football has had this many wholesale changes. And then we're going to get a set. Zach's going to run a session for us tonight, guys. We're going to do the note time with Nagy. We'll work on the name of it or whatever, but he's going to take us through that. Then I'm going to go through and we're going to talk about our practice notes from this weekend. I'm starting to feel some optimism for this football team. So we'll start on that note. Zach, I don't know about you, man, but this last Saturday, I felt a lot better watching that team that I saw on Saturday than the previous Saturday. So I guess the talk of improvement coming for this team isn't just coach talk. Am I a little? Am I drinking the Kool-Aid, Zach? Were you impressed too?
No, I think you're 100% correct, and it just comes from an intensity and passion perspective. Obviously, look, Blake Baker's taken over. This is a guy who's really starting to assert himself as not just a schematic genius, but a player's coach. He's starting to really get the most out of his players, and it starts with Harold Perkins. And we've really seen him just shot out of a cannon on every snap. And Blake Baker's not scared to blitz. In fact, in 11 on 11, I would say every single play I probably saw them blitz, to be honest with you. And it's not necessarily an overstatement to me. But look, we're starting to see this defense click on all cylinders. And look, any type of improvement's improvement. You can't get worse.
Right.
So it's all about stepping up and doing what you can there. But I've been impressed. I know you've been impressed. And look, now you just got to carry the momentum into the season. But it starts with the defensive line. We've started to see Jacobian Guillory assert himself as a key piece. Gio Paez is starting to hit his groove, hit his stride, playing against SEC comp. And then you're starting to see some backups like JVR Suggs and Shone Washington also take that next step. So, look, this defense as a whole is really starting to improve. And now it's just time to continue carrying that momentum into next week and kind of building on what you've done over the last couple of practices.
Now, before we go on too far, guys, I got to ask y'all, make sure to hit the like button on the show, share the show out if you enjoy it, get our analytics. You know how much these robots determine how the success of our show goes, and some preferential analytics. If you just don't mind hitting a like real quick, that always helps us. All right. I don't know about you, but the biggest question I was asked on every show this offseason was Harold Perkins at middle linebacker. Are you sure about that? Go ahead, Nagy. Give him your response there.
My only answer would be is that the way that Blake Baker is using him right now is his bread and butter. It's the only way to put it. He's still learning the position, but he's doing everything right. That's my answer, is that he's doing everything right. Blake Baker said that he's on fire. That's an understatement to me. And I'm not trying to sound like this kind of, biased LSU guy.
Sunshine pumper.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid like you were saying before. Like, I'm not trying to sound like that guy. When you get to see what he's doing in person, it's been really impressive. And we know Harold Perkins is a freak of nature, but look, Blake Baker's put him in the right spots and giving him the best opportunity to be successful, which we didn't quite see a season ago.
And guys, look, he's a ULL grad, so like he hates LSU, so he's not going to tell you anything. I'm kidding. He doesn't. He doesn't hate LSU. You grew up. Would you say LSU when you were growing up was one of your? What would you say the sport you watched the most was, or team you watched the most growing up? Was it LSU football?
Saints. New Orleans Saints football was my go-to, but me and my dad would watch LSU football every Saturday. So I can tell you, I wasn't watching UL football back in the day. I was definitely watching the Tigers in Death Valley. I'll tell you that much. That's
too funny, man. Yeah, look, my overall take on Harold Perkins, man. First off, he does look great in this system. Boy, he's starting to shine. He's too darn talented to be used as like a utility player. Also, like, think about this. Like, do you think his future in the NFL would be an edge rushing defensive end? I mean, how many edge rushers are as small as him in the NFL? There's like none of them.
That was why they put him back at that inside linebacker position, was because that's what his bread and butter is going to be at the next level. They were kind of preparing him for the pros, but yeah, I think for the long term, this is a guy who's just going to be every single position that you want him to be. It's a see ball, get ball type of guy, and if that's the position that we want to call it, that's what it's going to be.
And look, don't forget what Blake Baker has a history of doing with linebackers, guys. We saw it firsthand with Damone Clark. He's not just a coordinator, guys. He's also the linebacker coach. One thing that stood out in the press conference was, and you talk about getting pressure with the defensive line does look good. They are improving tremendously quickly. And I had some time to watch Bo Davis and just his attention to detail. He's really good. He's a seriously good technician. They talked about hand leverage with the defensive line, how the offensive lineman's blocking you and what move to use to respond to it. And he really broke down the moves with some serious, not just like most coaches will say swim move is one action. It was like a 3 or 4 part response for each swim move. But I bring this all back to say Brian Kelly's still being realistic. When he talked this weekend about getting pressure on the quarterback, he said, look, we know this is not going to be a team where we just put 4 men down and get pressure on the quarterback. Pressure is going to have to be manufactured, right? So I guess my point in bringing that up is yes, the defensive line looks good and they're improving, and the one-on-one reps look great. I like what I'm seeing, but I love that the coaching staff still has a very realistic, but that's Blake Baker's system, by the way. Like, it is to manufacture pressure. We'll transition into our little intro rundown here. LSU landed a commitment yesterday. Cade Phillips, 4-star cornerback, flipped from the University of Texas. I guess a Lambo wasn't good enough for him. You got any thoughts on Cade Phillips?
Yeah, I mean, Cade's just an absolute specimen, and the word that I usually describe him is he's a freak. He's got impressive length for the cornerback position. He's a Swiss Army knife. If you need him to play safety, he can play safety. If you need to play cornerback, he'll play cornerback. But LSU's recruiting him as a corner. That's where Corey Raymond wants him to be. And he's really a true, I wouldn't necessarily say a late bloomer per se, but I think more of the scouting services are starting to get on him now before his senior year, as opposed to, let's say, this time last year. So he's a really impressive talent. The physical traits stand out. 6 foot, 6'1", 180, 185. He's a big guy. He's got that length. And we know that Corey Raymond is the type of coach who loves to have really long wingspan, really long, lanky players on his team or in his cornerback room. So he fits the Corey Raymond mold, and look, now you got a pair of top 10 cornerbacks in America committed to your program right now. And it's safe to say that Corey Raymond's starting to kind of hit the trail running. And look, I don't think he's done yet. I think we're going to see maybe one or two more left before it's all said and done. So I'm really impressed. And Cade Phillips is a tremendous get, especially to sway him from an SEC program like Texas too.
Oh yeah. 43 days later.
Yep.
Isn't that nuts, man?
It's so crazy to say an SEC program like Texas. That's going to take some time to getting used to.
Hey, that's one of the changes we're going to talk about
Yeah.
here in just a bit, actually. Not only did LSU land Cade Phillips, but LSU also landed a commitment from Mike Tyler, the 6'3", 225 tight end, good fit for the system, a guy who right now is probably a little better at being an athlete catching the ball than he is as a blocker. Not a highly heralded recruit, but a guy who you got a guy for your system. I have a bone to pick. There's a certain cliche I'm tired of hearing, and maybe I'm just an old man and I'm sitting here saying, get off my grass. But you know what? How many times have you heard the stupid expression? And it probably didn't start out stupid. It's been wrong over and over again. Oh, I thought Brian Kelly couldn't recruit. Guys, that horse is dead. Stop beating it. Bury the damn horse. It's like, okay, Brian Kelly has come in. One of the first things he did was convince Harold Perkins to come here. He's put together top 5 class, top 7 class. He's got a top 3 class right now. In fact, on 3, not the industry ranking, but the on 3 rankings, he's got the number 1 class right now. Okay, this is a historically good class. He just flipped a guy from Texas. I mean, he's got the number 1 corner, the number 1 running back, number 1 5-star receiver, number 1 quarterback, number 1 overall player. And guess what? The number 1 player in the country for 2026 in state, Jakeem Thanos Stewart. You got the number 1 player in the country for the year after that in Louisiana, Elijah Haven. 5-star guy I guess he's not 5-star yet. He's number 1, but he's 4-star. Anyways, in Baton Rouge, Dunham High School. And by the way, of the top 7 quarterbacks for 2027, you've got 2 guys from Louisiana. And you've got the 6th rated quarterback who's the younger brother of Nussmeier, Colton Nussmeier. So my point is that LSU is on fuego with recruiting. And there's no signs of it slowing down, guys. It's going to continue. For the foreseeable future, LSU should have top 5 classes. Can we please stop with the but I thought BK couldn't recruit thing? We get it. He's recruiting very well. It's time to just own that. Yeah, it's just known that Brian Kelly is a good recruiter, especially while at LSU. And, in Notre Dame was clearly holding him back. That's so evident at this point. He's probably pulled in more Louisiana players since he got hired at LSU than he did in his entire 12 years from Indiana and Notre Dame. It's time to get the shovel, bury the horse, and accept it, guys. It's just the new. Maybe the new horse can be well. Maybe Marcus Freeman is a better recruiter. Right, less proven coach, but maybe that's yet to be. Maybe we can move on to other conversations. Is my point. I'm not saying he is or isn't. I do think he's done some things you like up there, but I'm just saying we gotta have new conversations, right? Am I a grumpy old man, Zach, for saying to bury the damn horse?
No, I mean I could double down on that in just various ways. And Brian Kelly is obviously starting to prove that he's an excellent recruiter himself, but he's also pieced together a kind of an all-star staff when it comes to Bo Davis, Brad Davis, Corey Raymond. I mean, these are guys who are proven recruiters on the trail. So he certainly has pieced together an all-star, superstar staff to help him out in that regard. But look, that narrative, in my opinion, probably needs to kind of go away, needs to get buried, like you said. Completely agree with you there. Because look, the proof's in the product here. You get the number 1 prospect in America in Bryce Underwood. You got Harlem Berry, DJ Pickett, Cade Phillips, Carrier Kern. I mean, look, I can go on and on. We only have an hour, and I could go on and on for that entire hour about the way that he's recruiting. And it's starting to kind of – that narrative needs to be shut down. He's proven it, and time and time again, I think you're going to see people come out and try to say all they can, just the Notre Dame haters. But at the end of the day, they just need to kind of zip it because he's kind of shutting them up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess where I get really bothered by it, number one, you hear something enough times over and over again, you get sick of it. I guess the conversation is, it's so elementary to me. It's like, he's obviously a very good recruiter. I guess the conversation is he very good or is he great? You know what I mean? And that's kind of where we're at. And it's like, I just feel like we're so far beyond it. Can we please move the freak on? All right. We got an off the cusp one. By the way, I have a feeling already this is going to be so jam-packed. If you have a good comment you want to put out there, give us a super chat. We'll try my best to get some comments here tonight. Boneless or bone-in buffalo wing, a third option, buffalo dip? Okay, I guess he means ranch or blue cheese. All right, boneless or bone-in, Zach?
It's a controversial take. I think everybody's going to get on me and in the comments. I'm a boneless guy.
Really?
Yeah, get on me for that. But
wow, you're going to be roasted.
Yeah, for sure. Don't get me wrong. Boneless wing or bone-in wings are really good, but boneless is fantastic. Out in Lafayette, they had this place called KOK Wings. Not a sponsor. But
yet KOK, if you're listening, hit me up. My DMs are open.
KOK was a restaurant out in Lafayette. Fantastic wings, great boneless wings. They actually just opened a location here in Baton Rouge. Look, those boneless wings are fantastic, but tough take. A lot of people probably get on me. I'll take the heat.
Take the hate. Look, bone in obviously is what I'm going to go with, but there are certain like if I go to Pluckers, I'm doing the boneless wings because that's what they do better. And I don't dislike boneless wings. I mean, I agree they're chicken nuggets with sauce on them, which is that's perfectly edible. That's fine. But there's also a matter of cleanliness. You know what I mean? You have to get your fingers and face dirty for the bone-in wings. Like it's an experience. You need multiple hands. If you want to cut it up with a fork and just bite, I get it. So that's
you got to clean the beard, and then you got to do all these other things.
Look, trust me, cleaning this beard is miserable work. I mean, it is. You know how many times I've looked stupid with something in it? I mean, guys, it's hard. It's hard. Anyways, all right, let's move on to some actual sports talk before I have people writing my show here.
I forgot about that.
Someone got on me last week for the stupid ham art sandwich. And I'm like, man, dude, have you listened to some of these sports shows here where they just do not talk sports? Like it's sports adjacent at a certain point. I'm like, we're pretty nitty gritty. I just feel like if you can't have a little fun, you're not building community. You know what I mean? Anyways, this football season, in my opinion, is about to be more drastically changed than any football season we've seen. And guys, make no mistake, football season's here. Can you smell it? It's week 0. It's week 0. We got football this weekend. Real football. Not NCAA. Not preseason. We got football that counts. Barely, but we have it. And I can smell it in the air. I'm so excited. Guys, I've never seen a season that's more different. I challenge you to prove me wrong. But I think this is the biggest, most changes and most significant changes we've had in a football season since the invention of the forward pass. Please prove me wrong. I'm begging you to prove me wrong. I would be very excited to see it. I know there's been the introduction of NIL. I get it, but that was like the big thing that offseason. But prove me wrong if you can't. Pac-12, bye-bye. We lost a major conference. Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC. This is all under the conference realignment umbrella, but that is the major move. Now, you could throw in Oregon and USC as major tier 1 programs moving, but that's not really the piece that made everything go into motion. That's a reaction. It's also, let's be honest, Texas, Oklahoma, and SEC, you said it, man. Doesn't that just have a weird ring to it?
It's going to take some time to get used to for sure. I said it, and I don't know if I've said it more than 1 or 2 times. So, yeah, that's pretty it's going to take some getting used to.
We've got multiple coast-to-coast conferences. You know how freaking wild that is? That's unbelievable. The SEC will no longer be on CBS. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't most years that would be the big news item, right? And it's like buried. Like, I think people are going to start looking up and like, I wonder where that CBS tone went. And they're going to realize, oh, it's on ESPN because we haven't even talked about it. Big Ten on CBS. So I can't help but think about, are you ready to see that CBS broadcast as they pretend to hype up an Iowa versus Penn State matchup in the middle of November?
I can't even imagine.
Oh man, it's gonna be so cringy. 2-minute warning. That's another one that like a lot of people would be talking about, like is a big change to the sport. 2-minute warning. That changes things pretty big actually. And we get our video game back. Another big update. I mean, you can talk about how, okay, well, I don't want to play the video game. It doesn't impact me. Guess what? The players play, your kids play, and it just has impacts that will be seen. And not to mention, it's an NIL package for literally, it is the largest NIL package ever to date, ever made, a singular package ever done. So that's a huge impact as well. Then no more Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time. Dunzo. He's gone. I ripped my headphones out. The Wicked Witch of the West is gone. Helmets and headsets. I mean, you starting to see how crazy this list of changes is, man. I mean, like, you know how big a deal that is, changing play calling?
We talked about it with Brian Kelly on Saturday.
Yeah. You talked to Nussmeier about it, didn't it?
Yep.
Tell me what you and Nussmeier talked about with that.
Really just kind of during practice, it's Joe Sloan sitting there with a walkie-talkie, giving him the plays during 7-on-7, 11-on-11, and kind of just working from there. It's a whole new ball game, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be able to look on the sideline and still get the reads from there. But it's different. You got the little green dot on the back of the helmets. We saw Harold Perkins have that on Saturday. You got a firsthand look at that as well. We heard people ask about it, and it's a new age. It's different. They're kind of moving towards pro-style rules, kind of like what you alluded to as well. But the green dot, the little intercom, little speaker to get the play call straight from the kind of the press conference or the little booth up there, it's a whole new game.
And you asked Nussmeier about how clearly he can hear it, right?
He said that it's pretty clear. Obviously, you're not going to know until it's an in-game situation. But he said it was pretty clear for the most part. I can't wait to kind of hear about what he has to say after a night game in Death Valley, though.
Not even that. How about a night game in Bryant-Denny?
Yeah.
That's the one I'm really interested in is how well can you hear on the road? They say it's clear, but again, a lot of things are clear, and the thing is he still has to communicate it to his players. So a lot of people were asking if in fact this reduces home field advantage, and I don't really think so. But time will tell. And of course, the biggest change, you know what change I haven't even mentioned yet? The expanded playoff. I've been through so much crazy crap. We haven't even talked about the playoff, and that's the biggest change. I think, man, because look, we got a 14 playoff, and essentially all that did was, okay, the teams that are right there on the cusp, we're going to let a couple in, but I mean, we just had an undefeated Florida State team get left out. That's not going to happen anymore. If you look back if you go back 2 years, you realize 2 3-loss teams would have made it 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like last year, LSU would have been like right on the cusp of making it in too. It's crazy.
It is absolutely bonkers. So we can smell it in the air. That's the breakdown of changes. It's wild, y'all. It's wild. So look, Zach and I were on ground this weekend, Saturday at practice, got copious details and notes available. We'll let Zach roll next segment. We're going to get to some ads real quick, but we will be right back. But of course, guys, as y'all all know, this show title sponsor this year again is Celebrity Theaters, guys. It's Louisiana's only locally owned, operated theater with locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston. For years, it's been committed to providing a total family entertainment to its patrons. Because it's locally owned and operated, you're guaranteed to see a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology. And of course, the Baton Rouge location has an invigorating arcade featuring over 50 games. It's the largest in town. It's got a bar featuring wine, beer, and frozen drinks. And of course, oversized leather reclining seats, which are a must for me. They've got the Dolby Atmos 3D sound system complete with the largest screen in Baton Rouge. Of course, guys, don't forget their weekly savings promotions. They've got Monday night is Senior Savings Day, where you get $5 off of all patrons over the age of 55. Tuesday is Bargain Tuesday, where you get discounted movie tickets and concessions for all. Wednesday is College Night, where you get admission for college students after 5 p.m. is $5. And of course, Thursday at the Baton Rouge location is Thirsty Thursday. All righty. And let's hear real quick from our sponsor at Genesis of Lafayette.
Got a brand new attitude, like bing bang boom on a pink balloon, like I just do what I wanna do, like ooh, ooh, brand new.
That's Genesis of Lafayette. Mike Scarborough, happy owner of a Genesis. His girlfriend looking real good in their Genesis. Guys, there's a reason they sell more Genesis than any other dealer in Louisiana for the very best buyer experience. Of a new or luxury vehicle. Set up your test drive today at 877-856-2961. And final spot here of the break, guys. I got to talk about my friends, Struby's, guys. If you're looking for a fine dining experience in downtown Baton Rouge, guys, this really is the place to go. Zach and I have been there. Great stuff, man. I had a Wagyu New York strip there, and I kid you not, guys, it was the best steak I've ever had. Now, I'd be willing to give others a shot to see if it was better. I'm just telling you, that's the best one I've ever had. All TigerBait shows are proudly brought to you this football season by Struby Seafood and Steaks, located at 107 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge. Struby prides itself in providing a 5-star dining experience for a reasonable price. Struby's is locally owned and operated with ownership in the building daily, taking a level of pride in the food and service you just won't see from just any old corporate establishment. Struby's features a full menu of specialty meats, including USDA prime Black Angus steaks, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip, which is what I tried when I went just the other day. For those looking for something outside of the red meat, they offer items such as the dry-aged pork chop, black truffle lobster pasta, and redfish, and plenty more. Book your reservation online tonight at strubys.com. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. All righty. Now that we've got that out of the way, Zach, the wheel is yours.
Also, before I even start talking about practice, I'm talking about Struby's a little bit, man. I'm a New Orleans kid, so I take food very seriously. And that steak that I had over at Struby's was fantastic. So definitely don't take both of our words for it, because it was fantastic. And I know Mike loved his meal too. I mean, he had probably a 22-ounce steak on his plate when we went. So Struby's is fantastic. But getting back to business, look, Preston and I were both out there on Saturday working through practice, checking everything out. It was a busy week this week. They had it was the toughest stretch of camp. It was a 6 straight days of getting on that field and working. And Saturday was kind of the back end of it all, the final day of the week to get out on the field and work from there. And biggest takeaway for me was obviously DJ Chester not being out there. Brian Kelly talked a little bit about him having a stomach bug, wasn't good to go, but obviously he'll be good to go for the season opener. But for me, it was nice to get the opportunity to see Tyree Adams work in with the first team. If you ask a lot of the people, he's their 6th man. It's pretty cut and dry. He's the 6th man on that offensive line, and you saw Garrett Dellinger slide in at center, and then you saw Tyree Adams slide in at left guard. And it was a really nice sight to see, because he's had such a fantastic offseason. You talk to anybody about Tyree, and he's as hard of a worker as they come. So I'm really intrigued to see how that goes. And he looked the part. He was
real quick
guy out there. I liked it. What did you think, Preston?
Thoughts on Dellinger, though? What did you think about him at center?
It's certainly an interesting situation, is the best way that I could put it. I know that's super vague. Look, he has his highs and lows. We know that the stint of him at center didn't necessarily go as planned in the past, but they're certainly testing it. And even though Chester wasn't out there and Dellinger had to slide in at center, even when Dellinger was out there fully healthy and not sick with a stomach bug, we've seen Dellinger slide in at center and then put Chester at left guard.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen some rotations out there with the offensive line. I don't know what they're going to do with that if they let Dellinger take first team snaps at center, but we've seen this story kind of go already. I'd be a little bit surprised to see them roll out there with him at center for sure.
But I do think so. First off, it's not his best work on the offensive line is at center. Clearly, he's better at guard. I do think it's pretty clear that he's your backup center. I don't think they're going to give Cohen and Cole's second reps, right? I mean,
no doubt.
But I do think that I think he's better at guard. I think that DJ Chester is going to be a major key.
Yeah, no doubt. And we got to see that. And that was a major takeaway for me, specifically on Saturday alone. But obviously, what a lot of people want to hear about is the defense. I can go on and on about the offense day in and day out, talking about the starting receivers that you got. Chris Hilton, Kyron Lacey, CJ Daniels. Mm-hmm. They looked the part. The 1-2 punch of Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson. They look fantastic. Your O-line, fantastic. That's a Joe Moore Award caliber offensive line. But for me, kind of just talking about the defense is where I'd like to kind of sit back and kind of elaborate on, because we're really starting to see them play with some passion and intensity, and we got to see that on full display on Saturday, Preston. I mean, it was really, really nice to watch them get more 11-on-11 action in kind of a scrimmage-like setting, not necessarily a full-on scrimmage, but we got to see some live action.
Yeah.
It was nice to see.
I'm itching for a scrimmage, by the way. I'm itching for one. I really cannot wait to get in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, Saturday's going to be nice. I saw Steven ask if it's in Tiger Stadium. Yeah, Steven, Saturday's in Tiger Stadium. But look, 7-on-7 is one thing. We've seen Garrett Nussmeier kind of carve the defense like a turkey in 7-on-7. No pressure, no nothing. And he's looked flat out fantastic. But look, 11-on-11 is where you're going to get the true test of what Garrett Nussmeier's like. And the first week and a half of practice was a little skittish on his part, but we're starting to see him come into his own. And it's, him being skittish is a testament to Blake Baker's defense. Earlier, we kind of alluded to the fact that they continue to blitz. Harold Perkins, Major Burns, with the second team, Kylan Jackson. I mean, you're seeing guys get in the backfield and really disrupt Garrett Nussmeier. And it's no knock on Nussmeier. It's more of a testament to the defense that they're playing under Blake Baker. So I've been impressed with Ashton Stamps. But as we've kind of wrapped up week 3 on Saturday, Savion Jones is the guy that I'm looking at right now. I really think that he's due for a breakout season. He's had a stellar camp.
Yeah.
I've been just flat out impressed with everything that he's done this offseason. And now, obviously, carry the momentum into the season. But Savion's been a guy that I've been looking at. Preston, I don't know what you've seen from the defense. I'd love to get your thoughts. But we're starting to see those guys kind of click. And now it's all about seeing that consistency. That's something.
It's funny you mentioned Savion. You know who pops out a little more than Savion to me?
Is it Braden Swinson?
Oh, no, he's really good too, actually. But no, he's improved a lot too. Deshaun Womack, though. Deshaun Womack's looking really good out there. That's the guy I thought. But no, Braden Swinson has stepped up. And, there's some really good players who are kind of getting buried at that defensive end spot. I mean, think about Paris Shand has had a quiet. But he's made some plays, but I feel like he's getting kind of buried. I'm starting to think maybe defensive end, good spot for LSU. Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, I'd sit back and agree with you. With the first team, you got Braden Swinson and Savion Jones, and that's an excellent 1-2 punch. Second team, you got Deshaun Womack, Paris Shand, if you want to throw him in there. But look, Gabriel Relaford's coming for blood.
Relaford, I hadn't even heard from him.
Yeah, Gabriel Relaford's coming for blood. This is
he's good though. That's the thing. It's not that he's not playing. I'm just telling you, that's how many defensive ends have been making plays.
You have an uber talented defensive end room.
Yeah.
And it's going to be kind of nice to watch how Kevin Peoples utilizes the talent in that room. Deshaun Womack's a guy who has had a pretty good camp. I would have loved to kind of seen him take that next step over the last couple of practices. But it looks like Braden Swinson and Savion Jones have penciled themselves in as starters. But I don't think that room is going to necessarily matter who that first team is. I think you're going to see a by-committee approach. I think you'll see Deshaun Womack get on the field, Paris Shand get on the field. Heck, you might even see Gabriel Relaford get on the field. I think it's going to be tough for him not to. So you got a by-committee approach there. But, yeah, Preston, what you're saying, that room's deep, man. That room's deep.
Yeah. Yeah. You got any other notes?
For me, defensive line. I've been watching JVR Suggs like a hawk, and I've been really impressed with him. If you would have asked me in the first week and a half, I would have probably sounded like a casual and just been like, look, he's not doing anything. I hadn't seen him do much. And that's a vicious take. That's a knock on him. But over the last, let's say, 3, 4, 5, 6 practices, JVR Suggs, he's coming to play now. We saw Jacoby and Guillory go down with that knee injury on Tuesday. And the first 2 guys that kind of popped in there were JVR Suggs, a little bit of Jalen Lee action, and some Shone Washington as well. So it's 3 guys. JVR Suggs is the guy who's going to get on the field this year. And I've been really impressed with him so far. He's really hitting his stride. And we saw a little bit of that on Saturday as well. But I've been impressed with the progression of JVR Suggs. That's kind of my main takeaway from Saturday as well.
I spent a lot of time watching defensive tackles. In fact, there were sessions where a lot of other reporters went to DBs or 7-on-7. And
7-on-7. This is why I'm glad that you had the opportunity to look at that. I want to get your thoughts on the defensive line as well.
Yeah. And I watched the one-on-ones versus the offensive and defensive line. Let me tell you. So I like what you're saying about JVR Suggs. I think it's clear Jacoby and Guillory is your best defensive tackle. Polished. Which, that's not really a phrase that they've thrown around Jacoby and Guillory a ton since he started. It's mostly he's huge, he's a massive, powerful guy, he's explosive, and he's been buried on the depth chart since he's got here at LSU. But you're really starting to see him go against other guys, and you're like, whoa, this guy's technique and leverage, he's playing some fundamental football, but he still plays pissed off. I still think he's going to get a personal foul or two. He's got that dog in him. How about that for a little football fix throwback? No poodles. Yeah, yeah. You know, all I could think about with Blake Baker saying that was how we went on our no dogs rant last year. Anyways, so compare him to a guy like Dominic McKinley, oozes talent. He's added about maybe 20 pounds since he got on campus. He's about 6'3", 310, but he's a little raw out there. He's a guy who Bo Davis is spending a ton of time with, working on his explosiveness out of his stance, how his hand placements, his defensive line moves to get off a block. It's just not quite as smooth as Guillory yet, but trust me, he's a freak. So, man, I guess if you had to ask, and then on one-on-ones, you know, it was really kind of 50-50 on those reps. Who was winning? Womack beat Will Campbell on a rep.
And kind of talking about, obviously, Will Campbell's your go-to guy on the offensive line. Right. Emory Jones is his sidekick as well at the other side of the offensive line. And not to sit here and continue to harp on Savion Jones more and more, but that was kind of the one-on-one battle that a lot of us have been kind of looking at and kind of glancing over. If we're looking at 7-on-7, we kind of sit over there and wait to see when Savion Jones is going up against Emory. And that was a split battle all season. It was really nice to see. And we had the chance to sit down and talk to Savion, and he was mentioning how him and Emory Jones after practice would go out on the field and talk about the moves, the techniques that they were doing in order for one of them to win. If Savion won, he'd give Emory a pointer. If Emory Jones won, he'd give a pointer to Savion. So it was nice to see that kind of camaraderie and that chemistry gelling. Yeah. And I know Will Campbell's obviously, top 10 future pick. But Emory was also kind of getting some work in with Savion, and that was a nice one-on-one to keep tabs on as well.
Yeah, no doubt there. I think it was interesting. They had 2 11 sessions, right? One we had an excellent view of, and we're allowed to record, by the way. The other, guys, I guess I need to take a picture. It's comical because we're sitting on third row bleachers. Glenn West is the only one who could see anything hardly, other than a couple plays here and there. And it's about 120 yards away. Once you're on the other side of their field, especially, it's a long view. But anyways, the first session, I thought the offense clearly had an upper hand. Are you on board with that assessment with the first session? It was like mostly the offense stopped itself when they weren't doing well. Let's put it like this. Garrett Nussmeier was 3 for 3 for about 50 yards. And I'm going to say about 50 yards, guys. I want you to please understand that, like, it's not live tackling, so you're kind of guessing where they whistle him down at. So he was 3 for 6 for about 50 yards. So obviously on his 3 completions, you can see he's throwing it downfield pretty well. Let's talk about his 3 incompletions. One was a throw he threw away. It was intercepted, though, by P.J. Woodland. Did you see the P.J. Woodland interception?
Man, that was a toe-tapping play. That was spectacular.
And there was actually one of the reporters there got a good video of it right in front of it, and I was like, oh, that's out of bounds. Then we looked at the video, and it's like one of those things you have to go frame by frame. No, P.J. Woodland made that play. So really bad throw by Nussmeier to throw it out of bounds. John Emery basically got hit in the face. Like a swing pass or whatever. It was more of like a flat out route, not really a swing. And he just wasn't looking and got hit with the ball. And then Chris Hilton had a drop, and a real ugly drop downfield. So you kind of get, that was kind of the vibe of like the LSU offense really had its way.
It did. And that interception, obviously, like PJ, was spectacular. But honestly, you're just starting to see Garrett get a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, that's a throwaway that needs to be 10 yards out of bounds and not quite that close. But my takeaway on that play is the blitz from Kylan Jackson. I believe he was coming off the edge, and he got in Garrett Nussmeier's face. And that's something that we've seen just time and time again is these defensive backs, Harold Perkins, all these guys blitzing and getting into the backfield and causing havoc we saw him throw it away, and it ultimately resulted in a turnover. So I think I'm kind of expecting to see a lot of that from the defense this year. But sticking with the offense, because we're talking about how the offense was kind of cooking during that first 11v11, it's nice to see Garrett Nussmeier and CJ Daniels start to connect. They had a really nice connection for about 10 to 15 yards on that kind of first round. And that's the chemistry and camaraderie that we're looking for. And I think CJ Daniels is going to be just such a big piece of this offense this year. He's going to be fantastic.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I think he should clearly your number 3, right? Like I think Kilton has kind of cemented himself in the number 2 role. I mean, am I right there, or you think that's still fluid?
I think you can label wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 just to kind of put a label on things, but I think you're going to see the ball get spread out in so many different sets. It's going to be. I wouldn't even put a label on it, to be honest. They're going to get the ball so many times.
Well, let's put it like this: 1, 2, and 3 are going to be on the field 90% of the time, right?
No
it's
doubt.
the wide receiver 4 spot is the one that's going to get a big drop off because they're going to use the tight ends a lot more. I'm excited about that 12 package they have for goal lines with Pimpton and Tradez out there. That's going to be rough to stop. Then think about Caleb Jackson handing that bulldozer the ball. Oh boy,
Yeah, the goal line sets are going to be so fun to watch, and they placed an emphasis on that this week in practice, kind of just working from there. We saw Caleb Jackson, of course, get in the end zone. We saw Kamori and Pimpton have a fantastic play in the back right corner of the end zone over Juwan Johnson. Just a toe-tapping play, got up and over the defender. It was fantastic. We saw that earlier in the week. And then to wrap things up on Saturday, we saw a freshman connection from Colin Hurley to Tradez Green in the back left corner of the end zone. And those are both highlight real plays, and it showcases their tenacity and their aggressiveness. And I've just been so pleased with those tight ends. It's going to get scary. Trust me. Like Kamori and Pimpton and Tradez Green, those are receiving red zone threats that are going to make a huge impact this year.
Zach, I'm gonna let you take this one. 6.5 over under 6.5 players catching passes game 1.
It's a really good line. First of all, that's a really good line. You know, Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, and CJ Daniels are going to get a catch. Right. Ian Mason Taylor also get a bunch of little check down reps from Garrett Nussmeier. That's 4. You're going to see Kamori and Pimpton make a catch. That's 5. I'd probably say, wow, that's a good line. Because I'm sitting at 6 right now. So I'd probably have to go under for now. But I'd be expecting 7 as well. I'll probably go under. It's a really good line. I agree with you on that. I'll say 6. I think back to that 2019 opener where 14 players caught the game and caught balls. All right, here's my thing. So have you noticed the shuffle pass to the running backs they've been doing? Yeah, and also little screen passes from Caleb Jackson. I don't know, man. I might
dink and dunks.
I might just have to say over. That's a great one, Preston.
I can't imagine Josh Williams doesn't catch a ball. Caleb Jackson, more likely than not, will catch a ball, right? Then I think Mason Taylor, you got to feed him the ball, right? And look, let me tell you this: based on practice, they're going to rotate those tight ends too. This is not like people keep on asking, "Oh, is Mason Taylor going to have a big 800-yard season or something like?" I'm like, he's good enough to, but I don't. I think that Tradez and Kamorian are going to have to take some of those catches away. So I'll go Mason Taylor plus 1 tight end. I think 2 tight ends catch balls. I really do. So 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. So that gives you 4. Then do we really think that Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, and then CJ Daniels, they're all 3 going to catch a ball. And then you're already at 7 with that, right? And I could really see a receiver getting rotated in, like an Aaron Anderson being used situationally or something like that. And then you've got other running backs who will be in the game and a third tight end who will be in the game. I think over. I'm gonna say over.
Fantastic line. I'm gonna roll with the over too.
I'm gonna say if you had to make me put a number on, I would say 7 will catch balls. But I mean, it's just my thoughts. Anyways, all right, we're going to go one more ad break, and then we're going to go some more overview. And I want to talk about that second 11-on-11 and the goal line session, frankly, because it gives me hope. It gives me hope. And, of course, we're going to tease next week. Next week, we got a special show. Those who've been following the show for a while probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But We'll tease that next segment anyways. Let's hear a little bit from our title sponsor. Y'all already know who the title sponsor is, but we're going to talk about them here with Celebrity Theater, guys. Guys, remember, Celebrity Theaters is not just for taking your friends and family out, guys. They also do private events. So if you got a birthday party or whatever else, a corporate event, guys, they've got 8 to 10 auditoriums to choose from. So whether it be birthday party, private movie screening, corporate meeting, arcade party, whatever it may be, they've got the perfect facility to fit your needs. Celebrity Theaters is proud to offer birthday packages for children of all ages. Let them handle everything from movies to entertainment to setup to cleanup. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who has hosted a 1-year-old's birthday party, go to the theater, guys. We got tired of it. We're taking the little guy to Disney World for this birthday party because I literally do not want to throw another kid's birthday party. Anyways, guys, whether you're looking for an affordable venue for next school event, fundraiser, guys, it's the right place to go. To schedule your next birthday party, family gathering, holiday party, corporate event, or whatever it might be, give them an email at events@celebritytheaters.com or visit them online, celebritytheaters.com/events. And guys, got to talk about our friends at Alumni Hall. Guys, it is my favorite place to go. I'm telling you guys, this is the place to get all your LSU gear at Alumni Hall. Shop at their store off Bluebonnet in Perkins Row, or shop online at alumnihall.com. It's like Willy Wonka's Wonderland for an LSU fan, guys. It really is remarkable how much stuff they've got there. I saw one of the parents at practice this weekend wearing one of their jumbo oversized LSU hats. Found that hilarious. Like, it's a ball cap, but it's like the size of a giant Lego head or whatnot. It's pretty funny stuff. But guys, they've got all the Nike gear: Champion, Johnny O, Onward, Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti, gifts, accessories, and more. They've got nice polos you've been looking for. All the LSU baseball gear is coming in. Guys, shop with them and you can earn rewards on future purchases with their Hall Pass Rewards program. Guys, I've got a discount code to share with you. All my friends and subscribers, whenever you go shop, use the code TigerBait, all one word, TigerBait, in store or online, and you're going to get 10% off your purchase. Go shop with my friends at alumnihall.com and use the promo code TigerBait. And our final ad of the evening, and it's about Capital City Grill, which is one of my favorite restaurants simply because they have this dessert item called a dream cake there. Okay, it is an ice cream cake with just a plethora of dessert items, Snickers, Butterfinger, the works. And anytime my wife is mad at me, that fixes whatever problem we've got. One thing we try to do with all of our TigerBait sponsors is partner with locally owned businesses that we've experienced firsthand. We've been to ourselves, so that way we know we can endorse them to provide you with an excellent experience as well. This football season, we're proud to add Capital City Grill to that lineup. Located 100 Lafayette Street in downtown Baton Rouge, the Capital City Grill is your ideal lunch and dinner stop for your casual dining experience. Capital City Grill features a variety of sandwiches, burgers, seafood, pastas, steaks, and more. With almost everything priced at $30 or below for an affordable experience. In this economy, we take that, right? So don't forget to celebrate a Tigers win at their Sunday morning brunch, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Book your reservation online at capitalcitygrill.net and make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. All right. So moving on. And guys, look, if you got any chat comments, get them in. We're going to try to get to them here in this final segment. In the second segment, they moved on to a goal line situation. And there's multiple things I like. Number one, they used Caleb Jackson a lot on the goal line. I did not like how they used running back situationally last year. In fact, in the bowl game, and this was a Joe Sloan thing too, by the way, in the bowl game, they put Josh Williams on the goal line. I hate that. And Hunt Palmer asked me on his show, well, Preston, don't you think that's predictable? Like, Hunt, you got 1 yard to go. You're not running 4 verts. Go get some muscle and beat them up. Be the bigger man. You know who the biggest, fastest, strongest back on your team is? Love you, Josh Williams. Love you, Josh Williams. I love a lot of things you do. First off, the best blocking back I've ever seen, Josh Williams. Okay, but No, it's the 6 foot 235 muscle hamster. Put him in the game. So they used him a bunch. He actually ran it in on a read option. And then they scored 2 touchdowns through the air. One of which went to, I think you touched on this. It was Pimpton, the touchdown you were talking about earlier, right?
Trades Green had that one on Saturday.
Okay, in the goal line set. Okay. That's right. It was Trades Green in the goal line. That's right. And it's hard to tell them apart sometimes because we're talking about 6'6" towers here. We're also talking about reporters who are 125 yards away. But I love that they're using them. So offensively, there was a lot to like. But even more so than that, you got a yard to go. And the offense did not. You would think the offense could just bully them, right? Best offensive line in the country. Struggling defensive line for LSU. On paper, that should have been a massacre. Well, I mean, what did you see in the goal line?
I was impressed with the goal line sets that they ran offensively. Obviously, the defense is competing, and as opposed to last year in fall camp when it was like 80-20 offense, you're starting to see more of a 50-50 balance. Xavier Thomas had a really nice little kind of a jet sweep touchdown, and it was really it was cool to see him.
I like that call too, by the way.
Wait, what was that?
I like that call too a lot. That was Xavier Thomas, right?
And the playbook creativity from Joe Sloan has just been shown like time and time again during camp. I've been really impressed there. But look, like I said earlier in the show, I could talk about the offense all the time. I just want to talk about the defense and how I was just really, really impressed with them from that standpoint. The front four was showing out. They were, like you said, stuffing them at the goal line. We saw the DBs compete. We saw pass breakups from Ashton Stamps. I think I also saw one from Harold Perkins. I don't know if that was an 11 or a goal line stat. But look, they're just competing time and time again. And look, you have the best offensive line in the country. Just run the damn ball with Caleb Jackson. Just run the ball.
Please, for the love of God.
It's not that hard. That's just all I got to say, man. Just run the ball if you're inside the 2. Just give it to Caleb Jackson and work from there. But the playbook creativity obviously was something that stood out to me with the jet sweep to Xavier Thomas. He's going to be a big-time playmaker in open space.
I remember seeing 3 touchdowns in that segment. Now, guys, the best I can do is anecdotal because not only are they very far away for this segment, but they've got the entire team standing in front of us.
Yeah, like you got to look over the players. It's impossible.
Yeah, so I saw 3 touchdowns and maybe 12 plays, something like that. So I think it's fair to say that maybe the defense either won that segment or was 50-50 even because, I mean, it was roughly like 1 in 4 plays that they got touchdowns, maybe 1 in 3, something like that. And that's about what you need when you're on the goal line with a first down situation. So that's very optimistic to me. And then the 11-11 session after that, we saw guys making plays on the ball in the air. Ashton Stamps looks good as long as he's not manned up with Kyron Lacey. Isn't that funny? Like Kyron Lacey is just on a mission.
I'm so high on Ashton Stamps. I probably need to come back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
Because practice is one thing, but SEC play is another. Just been impressed with kind of his patience at the line of scrimmage. His technique has stood out to me. He's bulked up to 190 pounds. He looks the part. He fills out his uniform.
Yeah.
Seems like every practice he's coming up with a pass breakup. He's got about 3, maybe 4 interceptions so far. He's reading the eyes of the quarterback. His technique's fantastic. He's turning his head. He's doing everything right. Unless he's up against Kyron Lacey, like you said. I mean, Kyron Lacey's making those highlight reel plays routinely. I don't think I've seen him drop a pass all of camp. I see Mike in there.
That's exactly what I was laughing at. Because, of course, hold up. We're going to scroll back and do this. Let's see. Well, I'm going to find the damn comment he's referring to.
Oh, it's probably up there at the top.
Oh, no. It definitely is, man. Definitely is. Because we're going to do it tonight. Here it is. Hit like, beat Mike. I really want to show where I get more likes than Mike. I understand he owns this channel and he owns this website and I work for him. Okay, guys, we gotta beat him. We gotta get a W in here. I mean, we have a good following, a good audience. I know we can get. I'm pretty sure he is the #1 sports talk show, like LSU sports talk show on YouTube, but we can at least get a W. Come on, hit like, beat Mike for me, guys. Anyways, in 11-11, it was mostly 50-50. It was, I mean, offense made some plays, no doubt. Chris Elton with a nice touchdown. And they did their thing, but I mean, defense was also there. I mean, defense was making some plays. Defensive line looked impressive. Swinson looked good in there. I mean, I'm feeling kind of optimistic. In fact, I'm feeling so optimistic. Because remember last week I saw the defense a week ago and I was like, well, they didn't look too good. But then basically this entire week, starting on Monday of last week, they looked real good, and they've shown me nothing but improvement in the right direction. And I'm already sold on this offense. I believe this is a top 20 at worst offense. I'm sold. Oh God. Mike actually popped in backstage. I'm actually terrified about what happens next year. We might have to end the show. I got a comment here from Eric DeLeon. I think it's DeLeon is how it's pronounced. Anybody? Oh my God. Get out of here with your fat injected arms, Mike. Nobody wants to see that. That's gross. Anyways, anybody a little nervous like me? We have a QB with little experience. First off, we'll read the comment and we'll get to it. Most about receiving yards. Most of your receiving yards don't return. Very few defensive changes in personnel off worst defensive year. Okay. Coaching personnel changed a lot. I get what you're saying. Yes, Eric, on paper, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and a lot of national pundits agree too. That's why LSU's ranked 14th in the country, right? Here's my thought. Everything I've seen from Nussmeier tells me he's a stud. And it's not like he hasn't ever started. Like, think about what quarterback did you replace a starter with where you had more experience than him? Zach, can you think of one?
Not
Maybe
really.
Matt Flynn.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Matt Flynn. You have to go back a while to find one. I mean, Miles Brennan came in. He had never started or played any significant action. Even Joe Burrow coming in. I mean, he never started a game for Ohio State. I guess Jaden Daniels was a guy you're breaking in who had a ton of starts and whatnot. But again, that's transfer starts. When it comes to a guy who's been on your roster and you raised them yourself, I think you have about as much confidence as you can. I get the receiving yards. The thing is that all you can do is evaluate what's there and what you're seeing. I understand a lot of guys are off, and there's reasons to be nervous about that, but I think this is a pretty deep football team, and I like the coaching hires they made. There's a lot to like about what we're seeing. By the way, Brett McMurphy today. Did you see his playoff prediction?
I like it.
Go ahead and tell him.
Number 8.
8 seed.
I'm not I'm here for it. Look, I understand the question. I know exactly where you're coming from. You lose some experience there on offense. You lose 1,000 yards on the ground between Jaden Daniels and Logan Diggs. It's tough to make up for. We've been seeing some different run schemes. Will Campbell pulling and leading the blocks on the right side. We've been seeing a lot of different looks there. Look, I understand the cautious. I'd say cautiously optimistic is where I am right now. Garrett Nussmeier is a solid quarterback. He's going to throw some picks here and there, but I think he's going to make up for it with the touchdowns and just bombs that he's capable of doing. He's willing to thread the needle. He's willing to take risks, and it's nice to see that. Look, I see Mike commenting out there. There's going to
that was me on the last one.
There's going to be change. There's going to be a lot of change here, but I'm cautiously optimistic right now with this offense. I think there's going to be there's going to be a learning curve early, but I think long-term, once you get to SEC play, I think they're going to hit their stride.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, man, I'm right there with you. Look, all right, Big Cojones Kelly, put Mike on the screen. All right, let's see. I'm going to try my best here. And if this is how the show ends, it's just going to be anticlimactic.
I didn't even know Mike had FaceTime. I thought he had an Android.
He does. God, I hope I don't have any bad tabs open or anything here. Let's see if he's got the nerve to do it.
Nope.
No balls. No balls. You're going to pop up here and put your arm on there, but you're not going to accept the FaceTime? I tried, boys and girls. I tried. But he's too much. he said, I know. That's why I used the Messenger app, because that's what I have to do to communicate with him regularly, because he doesn't have an iPhone like everybody else. So no iMessage. So it sucks. I get those green bubbles. My pictures look like a potato. We can debate whose fault it is, but it's not my fault. I deserve a good chat. So no balls. Guys, I appreciate y'all watching. If y'all enjoyed the show tonight, drop me a like. Guys, subscribe to the channel. This channel continues to grow. It's been truly remarkable. And I appreciate I'm just dying. I can't close the show out because I'm just laughing too much here. Anyways, guys, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it on your feeds if you enjoyed everything. Appreciate y'all. We'll be back next week. We got a special show next week. We're gonna have Van Lathan Jr. back, of course, known Hollywood producer, does work as a entertainment reporter there. Very strong following, hardcore LSU fan. I mean, hardcore. Really knowledgeable. We're going to go through all 12 games and we're going to pick the schedule next week. It's going to be an extended show. It's going to run longer than normally. It's less scripted. Of course, we still have to talk about news and stuff that comes out. So we're going to try to jam that in with our full season prediction. We've done that a few years in a row now, and it's been really fun. Every year, it's one of those shows. I might enable us all to just like pull out a beer and crack a cold one. Just have the boys talk about the schedule. So we're gonna have that next week. So make sure you hit subscribe on this to get that. Mike and Buddy will be back Wednesday night. Y'all have an awesome night. We will see y'all soon.